It's a world of mystery. Do you really want to know?
Hello, my name is Data. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to travel back in time to the 1950s, and we're going to discuss one of the greatest alien contactee stories there ever was. This all begins in Southern California, and it was started by a man named George Adamski. He and his group of friends had a telescope, and they would go searching the skies, looking at the stars, trying to find meteors. But then one day, or one night, I should say, George, through his telescope, saw a large object in the sky that he could not identify. He put his camera up to the telescope and took a picture of it. But this wasn't the only meeting. George went down into the desert area and he met the landing crew. The ship actually landed and he walked up to it. He had his camera with him and he was taking some pictures. When he got up to the ship, he met human-looking forms, you could say people, from different planets. One was from Venus, one was from Mars, and one was from Saturn. They actually had names. Let me make sure I get these right. The pilot was named Orthon, and the pilot was a handsome, blonde-haired Venusian. They were from Venus. Not sure how they live on Venus because the atmosphere there seems to be very, very dangerous. But there were some others. One of the witnesses, Alice Wells, made this sketch of the visitor while watching the interview through binoculars. It conveys the broad features of his appearance, but is far short of doing him justice. Orthon was an example of what came to be known Nordic aliens, due to looking exceedingly Nordic. Mr. Adamski, he was ultimately unable the mystery of the Venusian and why they stopped by for a visit on Earth in the first place. The inhabitants of Venus and multiple other planets in the solar system were quite concerned with the nuclear explosions they had detected coming from our world. They were concerned that we might accidentally wipe ourselves out. How about that? And feared the radiation generated might drift through space and impact their world as well. And the stories that they told to George, they told him, hey, we're just here to check you out, see how humanity's doing. We're worried about your destructive nature. Seems like a very similar story. But this wasn't George's only time that he saw these ships. He kept watching the skies, and he would see them fly past the moon. And he took enough pictures that eventually he published a book, and it was called The Flying Saucers Have Landed. Now this book really took off. He sold a lot of copies, and he gained a lot of notoriety. And he was traveling the world, telling his stories, sharing his pictures, intriguing everybody in the world. Where are these aliens? Some of the pictures were quite interesting. They would show UFOs from a close-up range or shot. The story was quite fascinating, and the world was quite amazed. Unfortunately, that's kind of where the story ends with that, because over time, many skeptics have gone through the story, checked out the images, and have seen that many of them have similarities or may be the exact same thing as certain products that were sold back in the day. For example, this chicken lamp.
And over time, this case has been studied in depth. You can see some images of the UFO. And yes, the famous US pictures by George Adamski are literally widely considered to be fake. And all the experts are concluding that he likely created them from household objects like light fixtures, lamp covers, chicken brooding lights, and other fabricated images, fake of alien spacecraft, particularly the well-known chicken brooder photograph, which is a prime example of most of his hoaxed images. Here's what that looks like. And even though George claimed to have been to some of these other planets, there is no evidence of Orthon existing or ever coming back, or any other Venetian ever visiting Earth.
And it seems like a very similar story to what's happening nowadays with the UFO people and all the stories, but we have very limited proof, so all it ends up is being a lot of stories that I think eventually get debunked over time. I think that'll do it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye.